Goodbye YouTube. How's it going, everybody? Happy y'all today. This really good, awesome, close OU battle that I actually had about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and for some reason I am on the opposite side, so I am Gypsy Danger. My opponent is I Am Bad at RU, but trust me, this was a really good battle, so make sure to stick around to the very end. And actually, I know some of you are going to get severely butthurt about this battle, and you're going to see why, but for those of you who do enjoy it, then as I said, stick around for the whole battle, because this was an extremely close battle. This literally has to be the closest battle I have ever had, and just one of the best battles I've ever had in general. Now, looking at my team, it is a team that I actually used in a previous PO Live, so I'll leave a link to the PO Live somewhere in this video if you guys want to go check that out. And looking at my opponent's team, he's actually using a team that Joey Boy uploaded with and one of his teams of the week, so I'll leave a link to that video down in the description. Make sure to go check out the video and watch some more of Joey Boy's videos and subscribe to him, because he definitely does have some good content. Now, before the battle actually even started, he put in the chat 6 foot Hax's team ? And I responded to him Joey Boy's team, which means he knows my team and I know his team, which is actually one of the main reasons why this battle was so much fun, just because some plays come into play because he knows my team and I know his team. Now, looking at threats on his side of the field, Thunderous is honestly the biggest threat, just because after an agility and a nasty plot, he could sweep through my team, so I really have to prevent that Thunderous from setting up on anything on my team. But he's going to be leading off with a Breloom, as I'm going to be leading off with a Hippowdon, thinking he would want to lead off with a Politoed, but knowing that this Breloom is just going to go for the Spore, I'm going to make the safe switch into my Celebi, and because this Breloom does not have Sword Sense, I know I can safely leave in my Celebi to eventually try to wake up, because I'm predicting him to either want to go for the Spore or go for the Focus Punch, thinking I would want to switch out, but he does stay in. He's going to go for the Focus Punch and gets off 35% on my Celebi, which is actually really impressive considering the fact that Celebi has a base 100 physical defense and resists Focus Punch. But either way, I'm going to stay in, again predicting him to go for the Spore or go for another Focus Punch. As he actually brings in the Scizor, I'm going to be able to recover up the full HP, and knowing that Scizor is Choice Bandited because I do have Baton Pass, I'm not going to be fearing the pursuit, so I'm going to be able to get out of there, outspeeding the Scizor, as I make a stupid misplay by bringing in my Jirachi. If anything, I should have brought in Hippowdon or Karen Black, because now my Jirachi is really worn down. But he U-turns out to the Garchomp, thinking that he would want to go for the Stealth Rocks. I went for the Ice Punch to get rid of his Yache Berry, but he actually switches into the Politoed, scouting out for the Ice Punch, and unfortunately for him, I get the 20% freeze chance. Now, first off, Politoed is a Scarf set, which means he doesn't have Scald. Jirachi is known for hexing people. The freeze chance is 20%, so eventually it is bound to happen, and unfortunately for my opponent, it happened to him, and that freeze is actually going to be very crucial in this battle. So I brought in my Celebi, I then Baton Pass into my Karen Black, as he actually brought in the Scizor. Not wanting to take a Bullet Punch, I then bring in my Hippowdon, as he actually switches into the Garchomp, thinking I would want to go for the Hidden Power Fire. Then we're going to take this opportunity to get up our Stealth Rocks. As he goes for the Earthquake, I went for the Roar, which I did change up to Whirlwind, and I predicted him to bring in Thunderous, predicting me to go for the Earthquake, which is why I went for the Roar, as I roar him out to the Breloom. This literally has to be the worst thing I could have roared him out into, because now I am basically forced to bring in my Celebi, because for those of you who do not know, my Starmie has not Analytic, not Natural Cure, which means I can bring it in on the Spore and then switch out knowing I won't be asleep. So I have to bring in my Celebi, hoping that he would go for another Spore or a Focus Punch. I stay in trying to wake up, but no, he makes a very good play by bringing in the Scizor, and at this point my Celebi is basically dead depending on what he wants to do, and I'm hoping that I can wake up. Unfortunately though, I stay asleep as I try to Baton Pass, and he knocks me out with the U-turn, which means that if that Politoed unthaws, anytime Politoed switches in, he basically knocks something out on my team with Hydro Pump in the rain. And this is where his Politoed being frozen is the most crucial part, because now, due to the fact that he's frozen, I actually do not have to worry about it whatsoever. So he U-turns down to the Starmie. I know my Kyurem can take any hit that he wants to go for, so I'm going to go straight for the Draco as he goes for the Rapid Spin, leaving in his Starmie for fodder, considering the fact that nothing on his team switch is into my Kyurem Black. He then brings in the Politoed as I go for the Draco Meteor. I get off 57%, which to be honest is really impressive, just because I was a -2. Then again, Politoed is a Scarf set. Either way, I got off a huge hit on the Politoed. As I roost up, he brings in the Breloom. I know I can take a Mach Punch, so I'm just going to stay in and I'm going to go for the Ice Beam, knocking out the Breloom. Loom. And so far, Kieran Black has knocked out 2 Pokemon and got off a huge hit on the Politoed. You would think its Rampage is over right there, right? But no, I know that he's going to want to go for the U-turn and not the Bullet Punch. So what I'm going to do is go for the Hidden Power Fire, which in the rain at -2 still does 27%, which is just freaking crazy. And Kieran Black has just opened up a hole in my opponent's team that I'm going to be able to take advantage of as he brings in the Garchomp by bringing my Starmie. I make an extremely stupid play, and I go for the Ice Beam, forgetting about the Yache Berry, and he gets off a huge hit with the Earthquake. Luckily, I was able to live, allowing me to save Starmie for later on in this battle to possibly spin away the rocks. So I then bring in my Hippowdon as he actually switches into the Scizor, maybe thinking I would want to go for another Ice Beam, which I guess is understandable, but either way, I know I should have use for Starmie later in the battle. And knowing that he's going to go for the U-turn, I'm just going to take this opportunity to go for my Stealth Rocks as he ends up bringing in the Thundurus. Now, the Hidden Power Ice is so obvious that I'm going to predict him to either go for the Thunder or go for the Agility, predicting me to want to switch out. And thankfully, he actually does go for the Thunder. I'm able to not get hit by it because I am a Ground type, and I roar him out into the Garchomp, which is perfect for me because now I can actually go for the Slack Off. As he goes for the Outrage, I know I will be able to take another one with ease, so I'm just going to go for the Earthquake because I don't want to risk Garchomp getting a 2-turn Outrage and then switching out and to his Thundurus wanting to save Garchomp for later in the battle. Unfortunately though, he gets a crit with the Outrage, which honestly does not matter whatsoever, just because either way I was still going to leave in my Hippowdon on this Thundurus, predicting him to want to Agility, thinking I would want to switch out or Slack Off, but he does make the safe play by going straight for the Hidden Power Ice. And at this point, the Weather War is his, but either way, I know that by bringing Interaction, something on his team is going to get knocked out. And I'm thinking, alright, I can go for the Substitute, right? Because he's going to be fearing the Stone Edge. But no, he knows my team, as I said, which is why he's actually going to stay in and go for the Thunder, thinking I am going to substitute up freely. And that's actually what's going to happen. He's just going to stay in and basically keep going for the Thunder until eventually I run out of enough HP to make another one. And unfortunately, he hits 3 Thunders in the row, which in Sand, Thunder is still 70 accuracy. And at this point, I have to go for the Stone Edge. So I knock out the Thundurus. Unfortunately, I'm brought that to a point where Scizor can knock me out with the Bullet Punch, but he instead brings in Politoed just to get his rain up. Considering the fact that my Jirachi is scarfed, I can live a Bullet Punch and possibly knock him out with the Fire Punch. So the fact that he brought in Politoed before Scizor was actually a good play on his part. As he actually unthaws and knocks me out with the Surf, I am then going to bring in my Jirachi and I'm going to go for the U-turn, knowing that I can knock out the Politoed. But here, he makes his own misplay. This misplay right here was huge. So he brings in the Scizor for some reason, I honestly don't know why, but I get off a good amount of damage with the U-turn and the rocks as I bring in Starmie, sorry. He's going to knock me out with a Bullet Punch, and at this point I honestly thought the battle was basically over, because Jirachi can't live a Bullet Punch, right? But no, I live on 1%, and I'm going to be able to knock him out with the Fire Punch. And because he made that odd play by bringing in Scizor on my U-turn, it was actually brought down to a point where Fire Punch in the rain would be able to knock him out, and at this point I will be able to outspeed his Scarf Politoed and knock that out with the Fire Punch, and that's going to be the extremely narrow 1-0 victory in my favor. So as I said, some of you are going to get butthurt about this battle, others are going to really enjoy it, and for those of you who did enjoy it, I want to thank you for sticking around for the whole battle. This battle was fucking awesome. As I said, one of the best battles I've ever had. That freeze was definitely crucial, because if he had not been frozen after I lost my Celebi, I basically would have got destroyed by Politoed. But then again, if he wasn't frozen, then I don't think I would have played as recklessly with my Celebi. So either way, in the end, it was just an extremely fun battle. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to some more content. And with that, I am out of here. Later, everybody.